Today we are using the mujadara that we made in the last video to make stuffed peppers. And I also did mention that you could do almost the exact same thing and make cabbage rolls if you wanted to, vegan ones, which is awesome. So this is the mujadara that we have from the last video. And all I've done here is I've taken 4 peppers and I've taken off their tops. And
saucy.
Yes, and I've taken out the seeds and the white membranes that come up the sides. And some people keep the lids, and my mother used to do that and put the lids back on as they bake. I don't do that, but I don't want to waste the part of the pepper that's all around the green stem. So I cut that off, and only the green stems went in with the seeds and the membranes into the compost bucket. And I have little bits of pepper here, and I'm going to mix them in with the mujadara. Because we can, and we don't want to waste that, and it's more flavor, and why not? And look at how pretty it is. So I'm going to add a couple of other things in here as well. So I'm going to give you, or do a glob of tomato paste, which is about, I'm going to go for like a tablespoon. And Rob and I decided that for tonight's dinner, it would be nice to add some harissa. If you don't have harissa, it's really no big deal. But it's a roasted chili pepper paste. And this one is particularly lovely. And so I'm gonna add some in there, maybe a teaspoon. And mix all of that up. Just to get it all kind of
it's a symphony of color and texture
mixed in together. There's a little bit of parsley in there that was on the top of the mujadara. You could add more herbs here if you want. Now, if you wanted to bump up the protein here, you could add a little bit of, faux ground meat here. Not my thing really, but I would add some tofu if you wanted. That's also a possibility, little cubes or ground up tofu in here. But lentils are a pretty good protein and fiber source, and with the rice they make a good protein. So
helps us play.
So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But another thing you could do, and we did this the last time we made this, was we rehydrated some dried mushrooms. So if you have porcini or shiitake mushrooms that are dried, pour some hot water over them, let them sit for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, take them out, chop them up, and put them in here, and then strain out that water, don't use too much of it, and you can mix it in with what's going to be our sauce here, and that just adds a whole extra layer of flavor. So let's talk about the sauce. This is funny looking because it's just tomatoes. It's tomato sauce, and you can use a can of tomatoes and it with the stick blender. That's the technical term. We grew beautiful yellow cherry tomatoes this year, and we had a glut of them. So the reason that this is a funny color is because there are a couple of red tomatoes in there, but this is mostly just yellow tomatoes that have been blitzed and gone through the food mill, so the skins have been removed. So, but you can use canned, you can use tomato, if you have a can of tomato sauce or whatever, just use that. And I'm just gonna put some chopped up garlic in there to give that more flavor. And a bit of salt, I think, because that's not actually salted. If your canned one is salted, then, don't do that. And maybe a bit of pepper as well, because, hey, we can. We can. Okay, so all I'm going to do is, you want a container for your stuffed peppers that will hold them upright. So that's why I've chosen this one. Sometimes people take a bit off the end so that they stand up all right, but I find if you find the right container for the number of peppers that you have, you don't have to worry about that. So
architectural integrity.
I'm going to stuff them with as much of the mujadara plus as I can. That feels good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pour that tomato sauce around the outside. And then we're going to tent it or cover the pot with foil. Now, if you're using a pot that has its own lid, go ahead and use that. That's fine. This one, I don't think I have the lid anymore. Maybe I just have the lid for the bigger size. I really can't remember.
Want to buy a lid? No, sorry. It's very 70s. It's a 70s
geez,
reference.
I can't believe you just said that. You didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear that. Okay, so that's 3. And 4th one here. Now, we are not doing the sweet and sour version of the tomato sauce. Like I said before, I think if I was doing the cabbage roll version, I would probably put a splash of apple cider vinegar in to the tomato sauce. But because I'm not really looking for that sweet and sour flavor here. It's just the tomatoes, garlic, salt and pepper. And I'm gonna pour some around the outside.
So you don't cook the sauce first, eh? You just put it in comme ça.
It's gonna cook in there. And actually, truth be told, any tomato sauce that you get out of a can or that you've made yourself, right? It has been cooked. Not the garlic, of course, but I think the garlic's gonna cook in the oven. And I'm gonna say, come up halfway up. You certainly don't need more than that. And then I'm just gonna put foil over the top. Like I said, if you have a lid, awesome. And we're gonna put that in the oven, and it'll probably be in, I'll put the details down below of what it ends up being, and we'll show you at the end, but I'm thinking it's probably about 40 minutes in the oven, and then I'm gonna take off the foil and let it go for another 20, maybe 30. So you're looking at about an hour in the oven. And what you're looking for is the peppers to be really tender and everything all lovely and steamy and fabulous in there. So we'll show you when we come back. Hi there. So they ended up needing to be in the oven longer than we thought, which is really weird because I'm pretty sure the last time they were about an hour, but this time it was closer to an hour 45.
Okay.
But this is what they should look like. You can see that the peppers are really tender, and there's lots of juice down there, and they're gonna be super yummy. So there you have it, stuffed peppers using leftovers, and it's vegan, and it's gonna be super tasty. So go ahead and make them.